Welcome, everybody, to Casting for Two, the podcast with your host, Chris. As always, I am that guy. Welcome, everybody, to episode number 223. 223. As always, I would like to let people know that if you'd like to keep in contact with me, you can do that at either my Twitter or Instagram, both at Casting for Two. Or, drop me an email, castingfor2@gmail.com. Or you can just find me out in the streets. Any streets that you see, I might be on them. So there you go. As always, if you'd like to sign up for some great monthly boxes of either comic books with Comic Bento or snazzy accessories from Spencer Box. Links are below. Click on the link. Use promo codes casting2, and I'll get you some bucks off. Because I'm that guy. I'm your hookup. And yes, you know it. You know what I'm gonna say. Sunday Brunch is also the other podcast that I host with the always beautiful, lovely, talented, wonderful, just amazing person, Megan Johnson from tipsywriter.com. That's available on sundaybrunchpod.com, as well as all the other podcasting services. So I need to tell you about my guest. My guest is Thomas Dietzel. He is a.k.a. the man known as Sutherlin, and he has 2 albums out right now. One, which is under his name, Thomas Dietzel, is a more rockish album, and Sutherland is a country album. And I was excited to chat with him because they're 2 very different albums, but they're very great. They're good sounds, great sounds. But I'm going to stop talking so we can get into this episode and you can listen for yourself. I think let's do that. Everyone sit back, relax, and Chris, cue the music, please.
I'm doing fantastic, man. I was actually just listening to one of your podcasts. It's funny. It's like, oh, wow, it really is the same person.
Oh, well, there you go. I was thinking about pulling a fast one on you, but
just someone with a totally different voice. Yeah,
exactly.
I'm hard to fool, Chris.
It's funny because as much as Casting for Two is me and my voice, I would love somebody just to take over it one day.
Oh, just without comment?
Yeah, just like boom, whole new host. Of course, I'll probably still be editing it and putting it out there. But I just think it'd be funny just one day. It's just what?
Yeah, the accidents on the highways and stuff, man.
Exactly.
I know how that is.
Nothing but accidents and highways. And then, of course, I would just never say anything about it.
No, never. You don't know what they're talking about.
Exactly. I was never the host ever. And then they're like, no. And then they look at all the art and stuff, and my face is just gone. I think, you know what? I think we got something here.
Some Berenstain Bears shit. That's right.
You know what? Yeah, exactly. Berenstain Bears. Did they do that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think they did do that. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. I get references. That one flew over my head.
Oh, yeah. So the thing is, there's like a discrepancy. Like people seem to remember it being Berenstain Bears, like Stein, but when you look it up, it's Stain. So people think this is indicative that we've entered some kind of parallel universe that is identical to the other one, except for this minor error or difference.
And of course, yeah, because I remember them as the Berenstain Bears.
So yeah, so do I.
Huh.
Right.
Interesting.
But they're not. They're the Stain Bears.
It's almost like what's that actor's name? He was on Empire. He's got a funny looking face. I can't think of his name. He's always
Yeah, I'm not allowed to watch television, so I won't know.
Oh no, I just Steve Buscemi.
Oh, Buscemi, yes.
Now it's Buscemi.
Oh, now it's Buscemi?
Yeah, after all these years, it's Steve Buscemi.
It might be like Keith Richards type thing.
Right.
I'll have to look into this a little more.
Maybe we are in an alternate timeline.
Yeah, you're calling me. We're talking. That's pretty weird. So that's pretty cool, though.
Yeah. There you go. So as you can see, this is a pretty loose show.
Yeah.
Where we talk all about nothing but alternate timelines.
That's fantastic because that's my favorite subject.
In an alternate timeline, what would have you been?
Oh man, in an alternate timeline, I probably would have been well, I mean, if it was back in the day, I probably would have liked to have been a Homeric rhapsode, wandering around, spewing out the Iliad and stuff like that.
Okay.
But I almost wound up as an English professor in this one. So it was a narrow escape, my friend.
What was it about being an English professor that you said, you know what, not for me?
Well, it's funny. Like I made a lot of decisions pretty unconsciously as a young person, and probably still today. How do I know if I'm doing them or not? So, I didn't know what discipline to study or anything like that. So my father, and he swears that he never said this. He was like, just be an English major. That's a great idea. You're great at writing and reading and stuff. And I was like, okay. I mean, I didn't know anything. So just because of some things that happened in college, of music and drugs, I guess, kind of put me on a different path. But I could very easily be sitting in a chair wearing tweed right now, talking about the Berenstain Bears.
Exactly. You know what? I don't ever want to judge anybody by the choices they've made. You might have made the wrong choice. That's all I'm saying.
I think. As you mean in terms of getting that degree?
You should have been an English professor and just only taught classes in the Berenstain Bears.
Right, it definitely should have been mandatory for like all incoming freshmen, all
freshmen and seniors. They have to enter with that class and leave with that class.
Yeah, just to make sure that they still are on top of the material. Exactly. But unfortunately, we'll never get to live in that world. Not me anyway. I know, man.
Oh well.
Oh well.
So when you mentioned college, is that where you realized that, hey, music, this is something that I really would like to pursue, or did it happen much earlier?
It was really starting in college. Yeah. It was an exciting time because, all the underground bands had come out and gotten very popular, and you didn't have to be like a great guitar player anymore to like be, in a band or something like that. It was just a shift in the culture that you could just be sort of like a dirtbag who couldn't play the guitar that well, and you could still have a band. You didn't have to be like somebody like Eddie Van Halen or whatever, right?
Right.
So so that's what happened to me, unfortunately. And I have just been doing it ever since. So with tremendous success, as I'm sure you're aware. I mean, I'm speaking to you from my palatial estate currently. So
that you know what? Likewise on my end, I'm not in a corner of a room. What?
What? Even that, I always knew I wanted to be a podcaster.
It was written. No, okay. So, like you,
ancient scrolls. Yes.
It was prophesized by the great Egyptians. I from a very young age, I knew I wanted to be a teacher. In whatever third grade or whatever, and then when I got older, I said, you know what, I want to be a history teacher because I love history.
Yeah.
And, I wanted to be one of those good teachers that you hear about that love teaching and are passionate and get the students excited to learn. And then I took a history class and I said, this is not what I want to do.
Oh, just took one.
Just took it. I probably got rid of that goal in a week.
Yeah, I had the same experience with a philosophy class. I was like, oh, maybe this could be something I could get a minor in. And like, within a week, I was like, done. I'm never doing this ever. This is awful.
Yep. All it takes is 1 week. But so, were you playing guitar earlier, or was literally all you learned it in college?
No, so I started taking guitar lessons around the 8th grade. I had played the trombone for many years, and I was my parents used to force me to practice a lot, so I was pretty good. I used to be in like the you would go to different like different things for the county or the state. You'd go to these concerts and do that. And but around the 8th grade, I got into the guitar, and my cousin is in this band that I won't. My cousin is in this famous band. So when I was a kid, he wasn't famous yet, but he would come over to my house and he would show me stuff on a guitar that I wasn't supposed to know, because my guitar teacher was like doing it all by the book. Like, you're learning to read music and do this stuff. And so once he started showing me like the rock stuff, then it kind of stopped taking those kinds of lessons as much. And I just wanted to like figure out how rock songs work, like how they played them, how people wrote them, like why they sounded like they did, And mainly like I was into like the Rolling Stones and like Bob Dylan and the Beatles, man. I didn't know about any kind of underground music at all. I didn't know it existed.
Right on. I see. I was a horrible band student.
Yeah.
I learned they all said I looked like a tuba player.
That's what they said to me too, dude. They wanted me to play the tuba. And I was like, hell no, I'm not playing that.
Oh, see, I wish I had those guys, because I wanted to play percussion. I want to hit stuff with sticks. I think that's where my intelligence level is,
Well, also that was definitely the most sexually appealing position to be in, was to be a drummer, a percussionist. Like, they were cool. Yeah. So what happened?
I ended up playing tuba for a couple years until
they got you.
Yeah, no, they totally did. Until I met, or my parents just one day said, "Hey, I know you want to play drums. Why don't we get you drum lessons?" And drum set lessons. I was like, "Yeah, sure, absolutely." And then I met a band teacher who was just, "Oh, you should play percussion," and I was just, "Oh, if you say so." Yeah, and then so. I would pull double duty in band class, where if they didn't need a tuba player, I would go play percussion.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
How often did that happen?
More in my freshman year, a lot. Actually, you know what? It happened more often than not. Yeah, it was like a standard concert. Maybe we would play 5 songs. 2 out of the 5 songs, I would go play percussion.
Oh, I'm sorry, buddy. I lost you for just 1 second there.
What was the last thing I said?
I just heard you say the word percussion. It was probably like 10 seconds.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no. So out of 2 of the 5 songs that we would play in a concert, I would go play percussion.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
And that's right on, man. I remember mostly like the band teacher was always trying to he was trying to rule this unruly group of people, which was us, and we just did not give him any respect at all. We just didn't care. We were horrible. So I just feel sorry for him now, because we were, everyone just kind of treated it like a joke at the time, but poor guy.
You know what? I get band has always had that bad rep.
Yeah, it was the last period of the day. Everyone just wanted to go home. It was hot, and he was trying to get people to do stuff, and everyone was just goofing off. It was I just felt bad for him. I mean, I do now. I definitely didn't then.
Yeah, I bet. Don't worry. I bet there's an alternate universe where you became a band teacher.
Oh yeah, probably that's where I'm going next. If there's any truth to some kind of cosmic meritocracy, that's probably where I'm headed, man.
Exactly. There we go. Now I got to ask you something. You did something pretty unique.
Hey, I just came outside and see if the connection's any better.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay.
I was just saying, you did something pretty unique, where you said, "I'm going to release 2 albums."
Yes.
Totally different, separate. One's traditional American rock album, and the other one's a country album.
Yes.
Now, can I ask you, what was the thought process in that?
So here's what's going on. I mean, I played rock music for years and years and years, up until around 2015. I played rock music or one of its many variants, folk rock, glam rock, punk rock, you name it. I mean, I played a lot of different genres. And then around 2015, man, I started to get really into modern country music, which was bizarre because I had always like kind of hated it without even knowing anything about it. So I had a girlfriend at the time, and we were hanging out all the time. We were going on road trips, going to the country, going to swimming holes, and we were listening to modern country music. And I just got really, I was sort of like horrified and really intrigued at the same time because it's so different than what I usually listened to or knew about in rock music. So, so this country album that I did just kind of came out of that experience after a couple years. So I was in a band with my girlfriend at the time where we mostly just played like modern country covers. And in Portland, like nobody knows any modern country bands at all.
Correct.
Like no one's ever heard of them. Like you walk down the street, nobody has any idea who Florida Georgia Line is or Jason Aldean or any of these people. And I didn't either. So it was like I felt like I had discovered some totally new universe. But it's just because I live in Portland, like we just aren't exposed to it at all here. And so the idea with the two albums is like that first rock album was one that we had already kind of had in the bag before I got into the country stuff. So we just ended up putting them out at the same time. And there's a whole nother bunch of rock stuff that's also recorded with those guys that hasn't been released yet that'll eventually see the light of day, I think. But it's the same people on both records, both the rock album and the country album, except with the pedal steel player added on the country record. And they're all well-known Portland studio musicians. I don't think I play at all on either record. Okay. I just sing on them. Yeah.
Nice. And so, we'll go album by album. On the traditional rock one, was there one song on the album that was a little bit harder to do? Whether it was, lyrics or figuring out the music?
I feel like that New York song that's on there, that's kind of a jazzier song. And it was, when we were recording it, we spent a lot of time on the arrangements, like with the horns. Like Victor Nash here in Portland, he has a studio called Destination Universe. And he helped out with a lot of the horn arrangements and the vibraphone stuff. And yeah, like a lot of that was definitely new to me, like working like that, because it's much more of a jazzy kind of song, I think. So that one was pretty challenging. And we have two versions of it up there too. Like we did as the vocal recording session went on, or I think like I was sort of helping conduct the instrumental recording session, and we ended up having two versions of the New York song, one of which is a little more drunken, I think. So
okay.
Yeah.
And now for the countryside album, same question. Was there a song that, just took a little bit extra time?
We really cranked those. Actually, yeah, there's one on there called Broken Hearts Are for Mending, that sort of an inspirational song that we ended up really spending a lot of time on because we took out the old drums, replaced them with electronic drums, and really stripped it down. Like we just spent a lot of time chewing that one over and coming back to it and trying to figure out how to make it work. And I should say that like Chet Leister, who plays guitar on all those records, he also produced the country record, and he like really stepped up to the plate, and in terms of like making the whole thing gel together. Like he did a fantastic job. So when I say we, it's mostly like him sending us recordings and then like us kind of getting him feedback on those recordings, and then him going back to the workshop,
Gotcha. Okay, now, as far as the albums go, is there one song on the rock album that you're like, man, this would be better on the country album, and then the vice versa? Was there any temptation to flip-flop a song?
Well, it's funny you say that because one of the songs on the country album, the answer to your question is no. Like, okay. Those songs were all written and recorded when I still was hating modern country and didn't know anything about it. However, that song, Density, that ended up being the last song on the country record, that's really a rock song that we were recording for a sort of follow-up to the Amsterdam EP that we ended up using for the country record. And we put it last. Like, it's not really a country song, and it's kind of, well, this is like a really pretentious analogy, but like, how on Sgt. Pepper, like A Day in the Life is kind of like the song after like the band is done playing, like Sgt. Pepper's band is done playing, and like now you're back to reality, right? Like the Day in the Life song. Like, that's kind of what Density is. Like, the country show is over, and like this character comes out, and it's like a portrait of this like very weird, like narcissistic individual who is like not the same person who sings on the rest of the songs on the album. So I'm not sure. I think a lot of people just think it's a normal kind of country song, but it purposely is really different. I mean, it doesn't have the same arrangements. It doesn't have arrangements, the same kind of cliches or themes or anything like that, which the other 9 all do.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. And so, you said you were listening to the podcast earlier. This is a question that I love asking musicians because there's no right or wrong answer.
Yeah.
Is there, to you, what is a perfect song, and could you give an example?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a perfect song is to me, it's like, well, I'm very like conservative these days. What I consider to be a perfect song.
Yeah.
So a perfect song is fairly short. It shouldn't be too much longer than 3 minutes. Mm-hmm. It has usually it has a verse chorus, bridge chorus type structure, where the second verse is about half the length of the first verse. The bridge is extremely short, and the last chorus has some sort of lyrical change or some sort of melodic change to keep things interesting. And also, like, the song, it should be very obvious, like, what it is about. Mm-hmm. Like, it's about this thing, this scenario, and there's not a lot of ambiguity to it. And also, the words should be clever, but they're not necessarily about drawing attention to the artist themselves, or about not even like trying to be super original. Like, the perfect song is like the best possible version of like a well used existing kind of trope, and like that's what you find in modern country music.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you have an example?
Yeah. Well, I think that. For instance, the song "Buy Me a Boat" is example of a perfect song.
Okay.
Although I'm not sure it has that thing I mentioned in about the second verse being shorter, but like "Buy Me a Boat" by Chris Janson, currently blocking me on Twitter, is a perfect song.
Why is he currently blocking you on Twitter?
Man, because when I first got on Twitter, I was mostly following like sort of like weird left kind of people, like people associated maybe with like Chapo Trap House and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And I thought you were just supposed to like kind of like, gently like make fun of your idols, and that was how like you got attention and stuff. But you don't. You just kind of get blocked.
Oh,
so
okay.
I think I was just like, why does Chris Janson make so many EPs? And that's what got me blocked, dude. Like, just that question.
Wow, how dare you ask that question?
Yeah, but I was kind of like referencing him a couple other times, so I'm really careful now, and I don't even have much country stuff in my feed. It's mostly like socialist related stuff, unfortunately. That's why I keep losing Twitter followers.
Well, if Chris Janson's listening, I know he is. Like, come on, help a brother out.
Yeah, unblock me, Chris. I love your music, man. I still play "Buy Me a Boat" all the time.
He said it was a perfect song, Chris. All right.
Yeah, it totally is.
Right, Jensen. Come on, and then I get blocked.
Yeah, no, you're right. Don't even try to friend Chris Janson. You won't be able to find him.
Never mind. So for the people at home who would like to pick up the new albums or follow you on the online, where can they do that?
So what you want to do is the name of the band, the country project, is Sutherlin, Sutherlin. It's like Kiefer Sutherland, but ending in Lin. So they can go to sutherlandband.com and they can listen to the album. It's also on Spotify, and you can find us on I think it's on iTunes now as of recently. And also you can go to Twitter, the Sutherland Band, Instagram, Sutherland Band. It's all the same stuff. And and we're working on the next one now. So we hope to, be recording that next year. So you can definitely check it out there. And in the meantime, as you probably know, we're doing this 8-month tour to promote the Sutherlin record. Really not doing any of the rock material at all. Just country related stuff.
Nice, nice, nice. And I saw that you're going to be stopping in Texas.
Yeah, yeah. We are doing at least. I know we're playing in El Paso at the Gray Dog.
Yeah.
At the end of October, and I think we'll be coming back to Texas, hopefully to do a lot more shows in January.
So I'm going to tell you something right now. Being a person born in El Paso, there's one place you have to go to.
What's that?
It's a place called Chico's Tacos.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Do you like flautas and rolled tacos?
Yeah, absolutely.
This is the place to go.
Chico's Tacos.
Chico's Tacos, bring cash.
Oh, cash only. All right, man. That's good to know.
There you go. So yeah, if you remember, great, but I'd love a full report on it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. If we do this again, I will have a detailed point system in place to give you a numerical rating as well as a more subjective explanation of what went down. So for sure.
I'm glad. Yeah, just get a double extra cheese. Just remember that.
Okay, I can remember that. I'm writing it on my hand right now in Sharpie.
Okay, and make sure you never wash that
hand. Right,
yeah.
Until the 27th.
When you take a shower, that sticks out of the shower curtain.
So do we still have a couple minutes?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If it's okay, because I'm not sure. Like some of the people listening to your podcast, if they're not country music fans, they might not be aware of this. But something happened in country music between like around 2011 and 2016, and it completely changed the landscape of modern country music in the same way that Nirvana did to rock music, really. Mm-hmm. And even though the bands that were involved were like, they weren't like necessarily underground bands. I mean, they were still, corporate bands and corporate labels. Like they really changed both the sound and the themes in country music tremendously. And it'll never go back to what it was before. Like it's irrevocably changed, like mm-hmm. forever. And are you familiar with this? Are you familiar with this subject at all?
I am not. I'm very curious. I want to know if it's a good change or a bad change.
Well, that really depends who you ask.
Okay.
My understanding is that for a few years there was essentially a kind of cultural civil war going on in Nashville over this subject, with some of the old guard, very vehemently speaking out against some of the newer bands and these newer kinds of sounds. And I would just say, like, with respect to like the sound of modern country music, up until like about a year ago, like it became like this weird mashup of hair metal, of like sort of 90s alternative metal, of like Tom Petty, Bob Seger type influence, and also most importantly like hip hop. Mm-hmm. Like those four things like became this kind of witch's brew that sort of took over the whole sound of country music for those years. But the other thing, man, and this is really strange to me, is that there's trends developed in country music lyrically where almost every song, and when I say that, I mean probably like 60 to 70% of the songs that were in rotation were about this male singer trying to seduce this woman. He's trying to get her to leave a party or a club that she's at, and to go with him like to this riverbank. And in his truck, and the sun's going to be going down, the moon's going to be coming up, whatever. It's going to be really romantic. There's lots of alcohol. He wants to take her to this riverbank, and she's got on cut-off jeans like Daisy Dukes. Mm-hmm. And anyway, so that like there are so many songs from this period that use all those things that I just mentioned, like they're checking off a box, and it's very, very strange. Like I don't know of any other time in pop music when lyrical themes were so concentrated in over a period of time like that. I don't know of any other examples. It's very strange to me.
Yeah, I actually can see where you're coming from. Yeah, because I just remember like when Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy became popular. Uh-huh. I was just, why is this popular?
Yeah, and that was earlier on. Yes,
it made no sense to me, and it's also I mean, the same could be said about rap music itself, because you listen to NWA and they actually, it felt like they were standing up and had a purpose for something, and now it's just about rapping about how much you get drunk and how much gold chains you can afford.
Yeah, it's definitely it seems to be a lot more material focus, other than a few bands like Run the Jewels or whatever. It definitely seems like it's much more of an emphasis on that. No, totally. And this thing that I described in country music, like it really ended. It kind of ended like over the last year or two, like it jumped the shark or whatever. And people are sort of flailing around in country music. There's not a new, like clearly defined thing that everyone has settled on that's going to be the new sound. And maybe there won't be, like, I don't know, but they're kind of just like flopping around in different directions right now because that bro country thing has run its course. But like I said, it's never going to go back to what it was before. It's always going to sound different because of that. Yeah. Did you want to interject or say anything?
No, I thought,
yeah,
no, I thought you have an excellent point. Yeah, I just had the rap point.
So the album is really the album is very much like in that vein.
Mm-hmm.
The album is very much in that vein, I would say. Except maybe the characters are like a little bit aware that they're in like this kind of world. So okay. I don't know if that makes sense necessarily, but just wanted to put that out there.
No, it absolutely makes sense, and I think so. And it's available now, so everybody should just go listen.
Yeah, just go listen to it right now, and let that be introduction to modern country music if you're not familiar with it already. It's a good place to start.
There we go. Well, Thomas, thank you so much for chatting with me, and I hope that one day you realize your dream of becoming an English professor.
Hey, man, thank you so much. I hope you get to go back to another time when you never actually had to play the tuba at all. So,
if only I was so lucky.
Yeah, I'll be rooting for you.
You know what?
Yeah, it's been.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I just want to say, in some timeline, I know I was a physical tuba. That's how much like people wanted me to play the tuba. I was born a brass instrument. I know this is true.
Like, it's him.
It's Tuba Chris. Great. Whatever. I'm not bitter anymore.
No, good. Let all that go, man. Just let it roll off. Walk it off, buddy.
High school's done. Let's move on.
It's done. Let's move on to something better for a change.
There we go. But no, seriously, Thomas, thank you so much for chatting with me.
Hey, thank you, buddy. It's a pleasure talking to you. Good luck with everything.
You too, and you have a wonderful day. All right, man?
All right. You too, Chicos. Take care, brother.
Chicos, double cheese.
Forever.